hmm Hi. So Sunday afternoon, almost 4 o'clock. Yes, I got a late start because daylight savings. However, I was going through my house, doing some house cleaning with my son, looking at the neighbors riding their bikes, enjoying the sunshine. I've got every single window and door blown wide open because it's 70 something degrees and I'm expecting to see rain for the rest of the week. So I decided to get my house nice and clean so I can enjoy that. And as I was going through the house and making myself another pot of this amazing kick-ass coffee, of course I got the smart ass blend. I was thinking about failure. How many times I fucked up. I mean, bad. I made some really huge mistakes, aligned with some wrong people. A couple of times I tried to collaborate and do some alignments, and things were getting dicey. And I started to recognize that I didn't need anyone else, right? And started to just really step into what I wanted. And everybody kept saying, well, my coach, Alan Jensen, who was my trainer, I remember him saying, why you keep trying to align with people? And I said, well, because I'm smart enough not to reinvent the wheel, right? And so if someone's doing something similar than I am, 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals like 10. And so it wasn't until Moxie and I really started jamming and finding our groove, because that power of potentiation is in play, that things really started to come a little unhinged for me. And when I came here in October, she said, give it a try, give it a month. And everything landed like it was supposed to. However, I have literally everything I want. And I wanted to take you guys on a little tour and enjoy my little house. You can see some of the little projects. I got a wind chime to fix. My kitchen's all clean, right? I wanted to walk through and show you what failure looks like. This is my house, okay? Couple bedrooms over there, some paintings I'm doing, big ass house across the street that I get to look at that's so pleasurable, right? I have a kitchen that I adore. I wanted you to see this space. I have this amazing back patio with an incredible view. I don't want you to see my bed. However, there's where I do my yoga in the mornings. This sunshine's amazing. I do my yoga, come out here with Jameson, have my coffee, listen to my wind chimes, look at this incredible blue sky, right? And you may be saying that doesn't look like failure, but yes, it does. I mean, I even have my painting, my favorite painting on the wall. But the biggest part, failure, you gotta look and see. There's my office space. I have a couple more things that I want to bring into play in here so that I make it comfortable for my coaching clients. Some couches and chairs and stuff, right? But this is what failure looks like, guys. Failure. Because it takes about, I don't own the rights to this music, Facebook, fuck off. But this is what failure looks like. Because your dream has to be big enough, right? And I scared the shit out of myself a number of times, and I am so grateful that I kept trying, because if I hadn't kept putting it on the line, I mean, I lost friends, I lost my community, almost lost the love of my life from being stubborn and deciding to fit everything in a box that I decided it should look like. And I started my business and I kept failing, and I'm talking about screwing it all up, taking risks where I shouldn't have, letting myself slide into dark places and screwing up. Like, I'm talking self-sabotage behavior beyond belief, right? And every time I got really close, it wasn't the moments where I thought I would screw up when I screwed up. It was the moments when I was about to do the best, where I was like, what do I think I'm doing? I'm not that big. I'm not that good. It was those moments where I was taking on the bigger picture is when I put them brakes on and fucked it all up. And it's not that we're afraid that we're as bad as we think we are. It's that we're afraid we're as good as we think we are. And it wasn't until I really scared the shit out of myself one time too many where I was like, okay, enough, you're really doing this. And I have an amazing friend who is my business partner and coach. And she sat me down and she says, what is it you want to do? Do you want to be the #1 psychic in the state of Utah? Do you want to be the #1 psychic in the world? Do you want to be known? What do you want to be known for? Where do you want to leave your imprint? Because at this point, I've been saying, how goes the teacher goes the class. But when you get to a certain point, the teachers disappear. And that's not saying you've learned everything, but it means that you've learned enough of your expertise and what you know that you become the teacher, and it's time to pass that on. And I remember her saying to me, "What is it you want to do?" Looked me straight in the face, and I said, "I want to make a difference." She said, "Then do that. Then make a difference, but get clear." And that was literally, I want to say, last Tuesday night. I had been sick. I'd been in my shit. And I took, for Laura Noel, she knows very clearly what this means, but I took one too many shit days, and she finally stuck a stick in my spoke on my bike, and I came crashing down, and she said, "Enough." I'm going to tell you that the most valuable thing that you can do for yourself is pay attention to the alignments that you make in your life. And I don't mean judge your people and pick them apart and use them as a commodity and decide whether they're valuable or not valuable and cut them off. What I'm saying is, whose advice are you listening to? Whose example are you following? Who keeps you going? Who's there in the middle of the night? And these are the people. And make sure that you're listening to advice from people who have more of what you want. Do they have the relationship that you want yours to look like? Do they have the finances that are in alignment with the life that you want to live? If they are having the kind of financial abundance that you'd like to enjoy, because those are the people that are going to teach you how to do that, right? And so I started to really pay attention to looking at what people are talking about, what they're looking like, what their attitude is, their language style. As an NLP practitioner, I listen to whether people future pace, whether they live in the past, whether they victim blame. And I started to recognize that I needed to do better. And so that's what I've been doing, and really lining myself up for it. And I'm almost there. The other thing I wanted to mention was failure is the number one component of success. And it was Kerwin Ray is one of my favorite speakers to listen to, and I follow him almost religiously. And I was listening to Brian Baker today. If you're out there, if you're listening at all, he asked me to subscribe to his channel. But I've always been paying attention to Brian Baker, but he always talks about success is about today. Success is about how much are you doing today for your tomorrow. And I know the last couple weeks when I was really in my funk, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to get 2 videos and 2 lives, or 2 videos and 1 live, or at least 2 videos and 1 live a day, and just start getting back on my production for my YouTube. Because when I was in my funk and I wasn't doing well, I wanted to have one thing that I could look back on and say, I did it right. I did it. I had something to look back on that I had accomplished. And that's when things started to really shift, was when I started to get in the pattern of success, doing one more thing a day to get it going. And, success, Brian was saying a quote the other day that he said, success, something about the rent is due every day. You've got to put something in every day, even if that's giving your self-care to where you're not getting any rest and you're driving to where your brain is completely depleted, to where you can't give back. And I always talk about serving glycemic. So if you're hypoglycemic and you're serving dinner that you've been cooking all day and you're shaky, well, you're not giving from a full cup. So you got to fill that cup up. There was a thought that I had there that I lost for a second, but talking about success, talking about failure. Oh, that's what it was, talking about success. So failure is a dirty word, right? For a lot of us, to fail is a 4-letter word. When we talk about failure, it's like the thing that, people point, well, you're going to screw that up. But Kerwin Ray says fail better, which means that you're going to try a little harder at something that you got to aspire to, but you learn when you fail. When you sit there and continue to try, and you can at least say, well, that didn't work. So next time you're not going to do that, but at least now you know. And so as you're starting to build whatever dream that you have, and in coaching, we have what's called a well-formed outcome. It's learning how to identify state versus goal, knowing what it looks like, knowing what it feels like, knowing how to get it, and taking bites and pieces of it. So the other component to failure is to remember to take your wins. Okay. You can't look at the end result and say, I don't have that thing, because I don't have that thing. However, I have so many good things that are on the path to where I'm going. So always remember that not to just pay attention to your failure, your things that you aren't doing good at. You got to look at those as the hard knocks that teach you and make your muscles. You aren't going to have the guns that you need or the weight that you want to be at by complaining about the pain. Okay, so when your muscles hurt at the end of the day, when you're sweating and you're tired or you can't go one more day, but you got to recognize that pain and that failure and that breakdown of the muscles is what's building more of said muscle. So make sure that you're taking your wins, okay? Because today, when I went through my house and my son was here and helping me clean the refrigerator out, and I was vacuuming and cleaning my kitchen, I took a look around and I'm like, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful life. There's a laughing child in my kitchen. There's my son and my daughter laughing and chit-chatting and roughhousing and music going, and we're cooking together. And I looked around and I'm in this amazing space. I got up this morning exhausted, didn't sleep well, popped over to my best friend's house because now we're neighbors. How cool is that? And I had some of her amazing coffee and we sat at the kitchen table and we had a little sneaky mastermind together. And I looked around and I'm looking at this beautiful life. There are some things that I still want to get done. We still have our coaching company to launch April 1st. That's going to be a soft launch. But if you guys want to get your coaching started now, you can do that before we get too busy. I would recommend you reach out to Moxie or I right now. The 12-month program is going to be kicking off this summer. I've got some really amazing things happening with another company I can't talk about yet. So we're going to be playing with some really amazing energy I'm excited to talk about. But take your wins. Sunday is a day of rest. I know I cleaned my house and whatever, but I set myself up for tomorrow by having a clean house today. And now I'm going to do some production. So you want to jump on YouTube, play with me. I'm going to be doing some readings on there. I think I did Taurus and Aries yesterday. So today will be Gemini, I think. So at any rate, I took that opportunity to walk through my house and take my wins. There's still a lot I need to get done. However, little wins along the way. I was looking at my weight loss. I was looking at my house, and that's pretty important, is to make sure you look at your wins. The other thing I wanted to talk about was titties. That's going to be a big subject coming up for you ladies and gentlemen too, because body image, makeup, desire to please, how to say no. And I'm not talking about consent, guys. I'm talking about when we obligate ourselves, overcommit, say no when we want to say yes when we want to say no, etc. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and tell you guys to keep paying attention. We got a lot more to come, but don't take failure so hard. Don't take it as like don't let that become your negative self-talk. Don't let failure be the thing you focus on, because it's got to be looking at the bigger picture. Law of attraction is all about calming down, settling down. You don't have to slow down. But anyways, thank you for hanging out with me and taking a quick little tour and putting up with my kick-ass coffee comments and karma rants. So thanks. Have a great Sunday. Come play with me on my YouTube, Karma on Deck. I am going to do some readings for you and answer some questions. So if you want to come play, join me over there. Meanwhile, do something today to recognize yourself. Spend a little time counting your wins. And, I should talk a little bit about playing with the pebble in your shoe too, because that was a big subject that Moxie and I were discussing, was what can be measured can be managed. So, when you have some overwhelming financial issues or an overwhelming weight issue or an overwhelming relationship issue, the trick is to begin. The trick is literally to begin. I remember when I did PSI seminars, once a leader, always a leader, right? My PLD, class 136. I remember Cary Grant asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I wanted to be a paramedic, and he said, how much do they make? And I said, I don't know. He hung up on me. My coach hung up on me. The next day, I told him how much they make, and he goes, so how much is school? And I said, I don't know. Click. Day 3. I found out how much school was. Found out how much they made a year. But he said, so what are you going to do now? And I was like, I don't know. Click. Shit. So the beginning is the beginning. You have to start. So start playing with your data, start analyzing things and looking at them. I am not an analyst. That's what I have Moxie for. Her brain is a machine, right? So I let her help me with that. If you feel stuck, the trick is to begin. And you guys always hear me talking on either one of my coaching rants or my YouTube or my readings. I always talk about if you get one wheel, one gear moving, then others subsequently follow. Movement perpetuates movement. So if you want your engine to start, you got to start it. If you want to get going down the road, you got to get at least one wheel rolling. So what can be measured can be managed. Thank you, Joe Newman. That conversation came up because he had a sleep number bed and he was showing me the data of how long it took him to sleep, how long he slept, how many hours of restful sleep versus REM sleep. And I'm like, why would you want to know that shit? You're sleeping. Don't analyze your sleep. And he flew off a comment, my ex-husband. He said, what can be measured can be managed. And it stuck with me. It stuck with me I was like, damn, but why would I want to manage my sleep though? But that's been a huge lesson for me. It's been the catchphrase of the month because I've been saying what can be measured can be managed. And so I started practicing with that. And I started taking apart my finances a little bit. And there was one or two big beasts on my back and I attacked them. Alan Jensen, I owed him some money for my coaching class and I had lost integrity with not working on that. So I called him up and I said, I want to get back in integrity. A couple of the things I got back into alignment and they were little. However, they busted some things, made some things come a little unhinged and my money started to flow. Why? Because I wasn't ignoring it, because I wasn't doing escapism and not facing it, because I was actually starting to make a plan for moving forward. And it seemed like the universe got right behind me. And then I had some of the most prosperous days that I haven't had in like maybe 6 weeks. But it all came from just starting to play with measuring, finding out where you're at. And that's the moon card when I'm pulling my readings. And I always say, oh, you're mapping. You can't know where you're going on a map unless you know where you are. Hello, WLS. You can't know where you're going unless you know where you are. So you can have a great big vision and that's great. However, figure out where you're at and start there. Thank you for hanging out with Coach Karma. Come meet me on my YouTube. I'll see you on the flip side. Thanks, guys. Happy Sunday.